first leg of our knockout tie in the last 16 of the Champions League. I'm still joined by Paul Dickov, Karen Bardsley and Darius Vassell. So it's fair to say that City dominated the first 45 minutes. But did the second half belong to Leipzig, Paul?
I think the first half of the second half, especially up until they scored, actually. You know, they scored their goal and you could see it coming. Full credit to Rosie, the manager at Leipzig. You know, he's obviously changed things around at half-time. They came out with a lot more intensity. They pushed their full-backs a lot higher up the pitch and started dominating in the middle of the park and really pushed us back.
So they brought Hendricks on at half-time, Darius, who seemed to make a fairly instant impression. He had that big chance sort of 8 or 9 minutes into the second half. What difference do you feel he made to Leipzig?
I think there was an overload on that side for the whole of the second half, and he was taking advantage of that. I don't think City were so much aware of it. The time that he did get in, he didn't look comfortable at all, did he, leading up to that? But that could have been really dangerous, so that might be something to think about, obviously, in the next leg.
We started to see as the second half, to be fair, pretty much from the start of the second half, Karen, the first sort of 10, 15, 20 minutes, Leipzig were getting more and more and more into the game. Did you have a feeling that a goal was coming for them?
I think we could all feel it, you know, in here. And I think Ali Man was obviously talking about how that flow is starting to shift a little bit, you know. So, yeah, I think we were all a little bit concerned that it felt almost inevitable, especially, like, as you say, bringing Hendricks on. You know, he's such an attacking wide player that he's more than happy to get up. He's a physical unit, you know, and you could see that Ake was in two minds, Grealish was in two minds about, you know, do I leave this block that's occasionally occupied 3v3, 4v4 with Shabalai coming in and joining in, or protect the middle, or do I go out and address that and potentially leave that gap in between the fullback and the centre half as well? So lots of questions being asked there by Leipzig, which was hard to watch because it was just like an onslaught of opportunities for them. But I think we got pretty fortunate that they didn't capitalise on anything else.
Yeah, I just found it a bit strange. I don't know what you think, that after they got their goal, they were so... the momentum was with them, they were on top of us, but then they sort of reverted. It was as if once they got their goal, they were...
Definitely.
We're happy now.
I found the first half strange, the way that they played with regards to their press, but it seems like that might have been a tactic now, because it's like they pressed the button, pressed for a little while, had a bit of success, and then press the button again. They press the button,
revert back,
and then chilled out a bit.
I don't know. Is it kind of like, you know, show you a part of our hand but not all of it? You know, I guess that keep you guessing for the second leg.
It must be something, yeah.
You know, it's a strange one because they're clearly a talented side.
Definitely,
They've clearly got.
They were a top team. Once that 15 minutes, it was like, uh-oh, it's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think.
Just wonder if that's came from the manager. Or it's a mentality thing. They think, oh, we've done so well to get back in it now, just let's not lose it.
Yeah,
well, it felt pretty deliberate.
Yeah.
It felt kind of sudden, didn't it? Yeah. I don't know. It's a strange one.
Yeah, of course. The goal did come. It came from Vardiol, who got it from that corner. Can we talk about City defensively first in terms of that? I suppose I'll go to the goalkeeper. You're representing all defensive positions here today. How was he able to get so high to get to the ball?
I love that. I think first you have to address the fact that Ederson got drawn to the flight of the ball as well. You could see he stepped forward and started to kind of chase the approach of the ball as well, and kind of curved his approach, which took him away off from the line and kind of reduced any sort of reaction time he could possibly have. But then you also see the likes of Guardiola coming over the top of Ruben Diaz and Ake, I think it was as well, that kind of was in the mix. And I think there was someone else in the pile. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. He got a really aggressive approach to the ball. And then obviously with Ruben Diaz just having like a standing jump, I think
he kept himself in the air with Ruben Diaz, which is a technique which to teach. For us small players, we don't tend to get that height, do we?
Speak for yourself, mate. You know what I mean?
I will say, Ederson made a fantastic save which led up to that corner, and sometimes the adrenaline in the system goalkeeper is thinking, OK, let me go and claim this. Yeah. And those couple of footsteps that he made, that you mentioned, took him out of it. He couldn't claim the cross then. I think he was on a high after the corner.
Do you think Diaz and Ake, once they've seen Ederson coming, they've sort of thought, well...
It could have potentially influenced their decision, but I think... it might have been one of you two that mentioned it, or might have been Ali on comms, in terms of, you know, that zonal positioning, you know, is you know where the threat's probably going to come from. It's pretty obvious it's going to be Guardiola, you know. Is that kind of the situation where you put a few more bodies on him and put him off from getting a clear
Just stop him
approach?
getting the run on it.
Yeah. You go man-to-man end zone, you
Yeah.
mix it up, and the most dangerous player, make sure you put the extra ones on him.
Right. Are we taking it as just one of those things, or is there anything we could have done differently, better?
As in the goal, or
Yeah.
I think any goal you concede from a set piece, especially from a corner or a wide free kick, you're always going to defensively question what's went on.
I think if you go back as well, there was a long distance shot from Szoboszlai, wasn't
That's
it?
it, yeah.
So it's obviously Edison's pulled out a massive save to go out for a corner, but if you stop that without having to have that save that goes out for that corner, so is that getting up to the
Yeah,
ball a
good
bit
point,
quicker? you know?
Butterfly effect kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we did start getting some more chances after that, as you mentioned. Leipzig kind of took the foot off it, changed after their goal, and we did start towards the end of the half getting more chances.
We did, and Gundogan's done ever so well. The goalkeeper's made a great save for him. It looked as the angle he's done it as well. It looks as if it was going to creep in, and I think that whether it's luck or not, you'll be able to tell us, Karen. Once he's made the save, he's managed to push it out wide.
It's a great technique.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it, he sweeps his inside leg away, and that pushes him off the back foot, which essentially extends everything in the same direction. So the first thing down is his hand. So it's a really good angle of approach from the goalkeeper, and he does enough to keep the wrist nice and strong to parry it wide into a safe space. So it's textbook goalkeeping. It's really, really good from him.
And with the last kick of the game, there was a penalty shout. There was quite a lot of City players thought it was a handball. We haven't seen a replay of it because the game that we were watching, there's been no replay. I'm just reading a little quick report on the game on the BBC website, and they're saying it looks like handball, but we never...
Ooh.
Yeah, we didn't get to see it, so we can't really comment, can we? Because we didn't get to see it,
I
but...
think it's always... Look, players will appeal for anything they can
Of course.
at times, but when you get 7 or 8 of the players all at the same time, that tends to tell you a story. If it's 1 or 2, I mean, I was the worst. I used to appeal for everything, even though I knew it was never happening. But the reaction of the City players, without obviously we didn't get a chance to see it again, makes me think that it would have been interesting. The refs blew the final whistle. You know, the officials got to be really strong in that position. You know, and then have a look at it. And if they're saying it's a penalty, then
The BBC
there'll have to be
website says
questions.
Benjamin Henriks pushes his palm out to save it. So
Quite
I'll be looking
controversial.
forward to seeing.
But we
that
have the
replay.
technology, don't we, to decide these, and we don't use it for these moments. We mentioned, didn't we? Like,
I just don't understand why, if it is there, why it's not being used, and like what the situation is with UEFA and the Champions League. If it's a controversial, like,
Yeah, I don't know if there's any difference.
Surely, is that the reason why it's there though? If it's controversial,
they should look at it.
that's what. Yeah, that's what. It helps us see the things that we can't see.
or at least have some kind of like communication to people watching.
Well, let's hope that we're not talking about it again in 3 weeks' time, and let's hope that that moment when we do see it isn't a pivotal moment. Of course, we're at essentially the halfway point in the knockout tie now. We will have the second leg at home on the 14th of March, I want to say off the top of my head. Are you happy with the position that we're going into now? A draw, taking it back home?
Yeah, I'm happy now that the game's finished. And, at half-time, we're all saying they've just got to create more chances, take it, and hopefully finish with 2-0, 3-0. But the way they came out the second half, I think we said beforehand, in a two-legged tie, and you're away from home, you don't want to go back to the Etihad with a defeat, because then you're going to be chasing the game. Now, it's a pretty much even game, and as good as they were for 20-25 minutes in the second half, I look at the quality in City squad, how we can play, our knowledge and experience of the Champions League, and I really fancy us to go through it.
Just a little update. Alistair Mann has now seen a replay and believes it was an absolute stonewall penalty.
That says nothing, though.
That makes us feel better.
We do know you're very pro-City, Ali. From what I'm being told is Alistair believes that he uses both his hands to stop the ball.
Yikes!
Even worse. 2 penalties.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we haven't seen the replay yet, but yes, that is what Ali Mann believes. Again, I hope that we're not talking about that as a pivotal moment in a few weeks' time. Karen, in terms of, similar to what I asked Paul there, coming back 3 weeks' time, get them at home, it's a draw, you fancy us to go on and
I think
get
so.
through?
Yeah, I think, again, Rose has showed his hand to us tonight, what he's got in the locker, what he's capable of doing. And I think knowing that, I think Pep's obviously going to go away and prepare. Kind of everyone's going to look at this performance again and understand what we could do better. I don't think it was necessarily like a poor performance. I think there were a few standouts. There were a few players that probably weren't at their best tonight. But there's no doubt in my mind that we can't win the reverse leg.
Did we miss De Bruyne?
Ooh.
I thought Bernardo was fantastic.
He was, wasn't he? But I think he's a match difference sometimes, isn't he?
He's the best.
Yeah.
That final ball sometimes,
It's hard not to miss him.
It is.
I mean,
As I said, he's the best, isn't he? And hopefully he'll be back in 3 weeks' time, which will make another big difference as well.
It's a great point. Yes, hopefully. I mean, to be honest with you, I hope he's back for the weekend. We don't know. Pep said he was ill and he wasn't sure if he'd be back for the weekend. Because, of course, the games continue to come thick and fast at this point of the season. On Saturday, we'll take on Bournemouth in the Premier League at a 5:30 kickoff. Bournemouth, who were having an absolutely stinking run of form, and in their last 2 games, they look like they started to turn it round. Feels like not a great time to perhaps play them, despite the fact that they are just teetering above that relegation zone, Paul.
Yeah, they are, but it's always been a tough place to go. We've always had close games down there as well. You know, it's a really, really tight stadium. The pitch is tight, the fans are on top of you as well. So they'll make it so difficult for us, and they're fighting for their lives. But, you know, forgive me for sounding like a broken down record. If Man City play as they can do going to these places, they'll win the game.
So they had the draw against Newcastle, then they beat Wolves at the weekend, Karen. The first win I think they've had, forgive me, it's 14, 15 games, something like that. But teams at the bottom end, they're fighting for their lives, aren't they? So you never know what to expect.
Exactly. I think they've got nothing to lose, and that's a really powerful position to be in, you know, in terms of taking points off bigger teams above you in the table, etc. So it's a dangerous opponent to be playing at this stage, I think, in the season in their current form. You know, we saw the frustrations, obviously, that Forest caused us at the weekend. And then there'll be some frustrations from tonight, I think. But ultimately, you know, to Paul, your point, City's a quality side, so really it shouldn't be that much of an issue. But I imagine everyone will still perform and prepare in the same way, you know, as though it's a top 5-6 team.
Bournemouth season they won't stay up on Saturday's result by beating Man City. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the games,
They've
the
got to do
teams
so
that's
much,
in and around them. So, and it is danger, right? Because it gives them a little bit of a free hit in that way.
It's one of those things, though. It's like the danger is of, obviously, it doesn't affect Bournemouth, but obviously, like in this massive title race, like you just need to stay on the end of it, don't you, and stay as close as possible. So it'll take it so seriously, and it'll be professional, I imagine. As
perhaps the fixture gods haven't been too kind to Bournemouth as they play us, then they play Arsenal, then they play Liverpool. So perhaps out of those 3 games, though, Darius, they're going to be hoping they're going to pick something up.
Yeah, of course, and they'll be fighting for it as we've said. But I just think City need to not be complacent. I don't think they will be. I don't think Pep will allow that. But I think what he was getting at is City can't be complacent and assume that they're going to get results because of their players. They have to go out and do the job and go and take those points.
Now, we didn't make any substitutions tonight, which is the first time under Pep in the Champions League that we haven't made a single sub. So in terms of the team Saturday, will that affect it at all? Are you expecting to see the same team? And of course, I guess it depends on Laporte and De Bruyne's recovery as well.
Yeah, it does. I think if they're both get over their illness, I'm pretty much sure they both start after tough away trip, tough game, travelling back and everything else. And then you've got Phil on the bench, you've got Julian Alvarez. You know, so the strength and depth is crazy that they've got. So I'd imagine there'll be a few changes. I wouldn't have, earlier on the season, you know, after Champions League games, there was 6 and 7 changes after the game. I can't see them being that many, but I'm pretty sure there'll be 2 or 3, just with the squad that they've got in fresh legs.
Yeah. Absolutely. Looking forward to it as always. And of course, Matchday Live will be here with you from 4:25 on Saturday. So do come and join us ahead of that Bournemouth game. And then, of course, not looking too far ahead, we've got the FA Cup next week and then more Premier League and the Champions League. Love this part of the season. And what we also love doing here is giving away prizes. So if you were watching earlier, either before the game or at halftime, we told you about a competition that we've been running this evening. Your chance to win not 1, not 2, but 3 City away shirts. Of course, we are just letting you know as well that shirts are 50% off. Away shirts, 50% off at the City store. Currently, you get a free player name and number on that as well. We asked you a nice, simple question, and we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of entries and right answers because, of course, you all know how many hat-tricks Erling Haaland has scored this season. Particularly these 3 people knew. Congratulations to Hannah Poyser, Mike Burgess and Andrew Arisdes. I've definitely butchered your name, Andrew.
Aristocrat.
I've definitely butchered that name, but you got a shirt.
But you're a
so
winner.
I'm sure. The more I read it, I was thinking, how am I going to do this? But you got a shirt, Andrew, so please forgive me. So keep an eye on your email inbox, and the City Store will be in touch, so you can let them know what player name and number you would like on the back of your away shirt. Thank you so much to everybody that entered. And thank you to the three of you as well, Paul, Karen, Darius. Real pleasure. Really enjoy watching the game and learning so much from you all, which I'm sure you all did at home as well. Hopefully we'll see you all soon. And thank you all of you at home for watching Match Day Live this evening. 4:25 on Saturday. Join us ahead of that Bournemouth game. So big congratulations to the Lionesses tonight. They won 6-1, which, of course, our Chloe Kelly got 2 of the goals. That was the game tonight in the Arnold Clark Cup. So very pleased for Chloe Kelly there. And, of course, another City player that got a goal tonight is Riyad Mahrez. He was celebrating his 32nd birthday yesterday. And to celebrate that, we released a wonderful, wonderful documentary about him. You can get it on Recast and you can get it on City Plus. If you're not already a member of City Plus, I highly recommend it. We really do produce some incredible documentaries, and of course you also get live coverage of the under-18s, the EDS, the women's games, and on Saturday the EDS take on Liverpool. You'll get that on City Plus and Recast as well. But for now, I'm going to leave you with a little trailer of that wonderful, wonderful new Riyad Mahrez documentary. City Plus and Recast. You can get that now. Good night, Blues. We'll see you on Saturday. And, of course, back in the Champions League for the second game against Leipzig in 3 weeks' time. Have a great week.
Ah oui, quand tu viens de là où je viens, d'où je viens, Sarcelles, tu te retrouves à gagner la première ligue. C'était mon destin.
Every time he took the ball, something special could happen.
He's got no idea whether he's going right, whether he's going left.
Mon père, il a joué en amateur. J'ai eu un déclic et je me suis dit que faut vraiment que je le fasse pour lui.
It was very cold in Scotland in January. It's probably not for everybody how cold it can get.
Le but en fait pour Riyad, c'était vraiment lui donner sa chance.
Riyad caught our eye.
Riyad Mahrez! Where is this going?
C'est personnel. Il a personnel.
Mahrez! In it goes!
Faut y croire. Quand on a les qualités et sérieux, tout est possible.